means a similar job or similar work together you will consider as a department. In order to repair and in order to manage with that machinery, it requires some human beings. So without a human being, you cannot run any organization. So they plays an important role in the organization. So system approach means all the subsystems are interrelated or interconnected with each other. So it will affect for the other subsystem. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Meghana from the Department of Commerce, lecturing in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Today we are in the fourth session of Unit 1, subject Organizational Behavior. So in today's session, let us start with the foundations of OB, then approaches of organizational behavior, then limitations of OB. In the last class, we were discussed about the principles of organizational behavior. So in today's session, let us continue with this topics. So let us start with this today's session, foundations of organizational behavior. So the foundation of organizational behavior, authority and responsibility within the organization is considered as foundation of the organization. So the framework of task. So specific framework to do or to complete a task. Then the reporting and authority relationship within which an organization functions. So authority and the responsibility within which the organization function is referred as a organization structure. The basis or the foundation for this organization structure now we are going to discuss. So there are six basic elements which form the basis of an organization structure. So those six elements are, it includes work specialization, then departmentalization, chain of command, span of control, decentralization and centralization, then formalization. So let us discuss one by one. First one, work specialization. Work specialization means in the organization we have various works. So all the works together we consider as an organization. So the whole work of an organization is divided into subdivision or sub-work. Each work is allotted to individual. So the whole work is divided into subdivision. So each one is allotted to an individual. Now the only work which the employee is allotted is responsible for that work. So you need to divide the whole work into subdivision and each division is allotted to individual so that he can concentrate on only a single work. So he will get the work specialization based on their skills and knowledge and the skill required for a particular job. You need to divide the work and allocate each employees for an individual work. So now he is responsible for only his work. So he can get the work specialization. So you need to divide the whole work and allot for an individual based on their skills and knowledge. Then departmentalization. Departmentalization means a similar job or similar work together you will consider as a department. So all the similar work bring together you will form a department. For example, all the manufacturing activity will together we call it as a manufacturing department. All the finance activity we form a finance department. All the marketing activity we consider as a marketing department. Sales department and HR department. You need to form a department for effective results. So similar work together we form a department. So it helps in the organization to ensure their work. So it helps in coordination. A group member can concentrate on their department or their work only. So departmentalization is a basic form or basis or the foundation in the organization structure. So departmentalization helps to achieve the organizational objective easily and quickly. It ensures the smooth working flow in the organization. So you need to department or you need to classify or you need to sum up the similar job in the organization. That is departmentalization. Next, chain of command. Chain of command, for an individual superior, the number of subordinates allocated in the organization. For example, for one manager, if the organization allot 10 subordinates or 10 employees to manage or to give command, then the manager can have a control over all the employees. So they can ensure or they can check regularly their performance. They can evaluate their performance and he can guide them. So based on their ability, you need to allot the subordinates. And the command for an employee, command for each individual should be given from one superior authority. If the command is given from more than one person, the employee will get confused and it leads to conflict. So, unity in command, chain of command. Top management give the instruction for the middle management or their next subordinates. Then the manager will give instruction for the team leader. Then the team leader will give instruction for the employees. So, there is a chain of command. So, from top management to lower management, it flow. The command is flow in a different way. So, here the manager, superior, team manager. So, through this, the command is flow. So, unity in command or chain of command. So, it should flow from top management to lower management in a chain format. So, then it helps for the smooth working or no confusion in the employee's mind. Chain of command helps for the smooth working in the organization. Then span of control. Span of control means you need to have control over your employees or over the works. So, you need to evaluate the performance of an individual so that you can take the necessary steps or you can make any changes as required. So, in order to have a control, you need to appoint a superior or team leader for an employees. So, an individual or the manager can control over certain people or the manager can control some of the people. Like if a single manager can manage with the 10 subordinates. So, you need to allocate the employees. You need to assign the employees based on their ability and you need to assign the work from the superior authority. So, the employee is responsible to answer for their superior authority or for the manager. So, they can have a control, they can evaluate continuously and take the necessary steps. Is called span of control. Then centralization and decentralization. These two topics you all know. You have studied from your PUC level. So, centralization and decentralization means the authority or the whole power is with the top management and all the decision is taken from the top management. No division of authority and responsibility. Here under decentralization, the power and authority is decentralized or is divided with each level of management. So, the management or the superior authority can take the decision. The superior authority can take the decision in certain situation. Only for the major decision, they go for the top management. So, here the decision making authority as well as the responsibility is with the respective managers or respective level of management. So, centralization, whole power and authority is with the top management. All the instruction is given from the top management. The instruction is flow from top management to the lower management. But in the decentralization, the decision is taken over by the respective departments or respective managers. So, sometimes decentralization is also benefited because in order to take the quick decision, you cannot depend always on the top management. So, you need to take quick decision at that time. Decentralization helps in the organization. But in certain situations, centralization is the best way of have a control over the organization. So, you can have a control over the organization and their employees' work. So, both are benefited, depends on the situation. So, this is all about centralization and decentralization. Last one, formalization. Formalization means each and every employees are responsible, have some duties to report to their superior authority. So, every employee has to be assigned their work and they need to responsible for their work. So they need to report to their superior authority. The organization has to appoint the superior to whom the employee is responsible. So you need to allot the superior for their works. So they need to look after or they need to evaluate their performance, and the employee should report to that superior authority. So this is all about the foundations of organizational structure. Every organization should undertake all these factors. All this is a basic element under the foundations of organizational structure. Moving further, let us discuss with the approaches of organizational behavior. Here we have a 4 different approaches. So 4 important approaches. Under that first one is human resource approach. So human resource approach is basically a human-centric or people-centric approach. Here you will consider a human being as an important element, or you give more importance for the human beings. So without the employees or without human resources, you cannot run the organization. Though you can run the organization with the machineries, that means you can produce the goods with the use of machinery. But in order to run the machinery, in order to repair the machinery, you need some technicians and employees. So in order to repair and in order to manage with that machinery, it requires some human beings. So without a human being, you cannot run any organization. So they play an important role in the organization. So here this human resource approach came into existence. That means human resource approach, it gives importance for the human beings. It is a people-centric approach. Here under this approach, the organization has to let the employees to work according to their knowledge, or you need to let the employees to do their work. So at that time, the employee can perform their work at their best. So they can come up with the innovative ideas, or they can find a best way or better way to perform the same job. So it helps the employee think innovatively. So here under human resource approach, the organization has to give some opportunities for the employees to give their opinion or ideas in solving the organizational problems. So you need to encourage the employees with a loose supervision. That means you need to give some liberty for the employees to work in the organization. So it helps in increasing the productivity, as well as it helps to develop the organization as well as the individual. So this approach helps both the organization as well as the individual to increase their knowledge and develop the organization. So you need to treat the employee as an adult. You need to give some opportunities for the employees to give their opinions or ideas under the human resource approach. The main objective or the main thing under human resource approach is you need to give importance for the individual opinion and needs. So you need to treat them as an adult. So this is all about human resource approach. So next, contingency approach. Contingency approach means, so a single way is not suitable in all the situation. That means to solve the problem, same method will not work in all the situations. So the situation may be different. So that you need to adopt the method based on the situation and requirement. For example, in the human resource approach, I told you the organization has to let the worker to do their work. So if this is the situation, in this situation or in that case, if the organization let the workers to do their work, some may work effectively. Some people, they became lazy. So it will not work in every situation. So based on the situation, you need to adopt the method. For example, your organization is dealing with the chemicals, means if the organization let the worker to do their work, it will harm the organization or it will harm the society or working environment. So at that time, you need to supervise your employees, especially new employees. So you need to guide them continuously. So human resource approach says with a loose supervision, you need to let the workers do their work. So but in contingency approach, it says the same method will not work effectively in all the situations. So you need to supervise sometimes. So continuously you need to guide them and you need to have a control over your employees in some situations. So based on the situation, you need to decide the method. So the manager task is to identify the situation and choose the correct method for a particular situation. The same method will not work in all the situation. So, you need to decide the method based on the situation. In a different situation, you will use a different methods of performing or evaluating. So, you need to decide based on the situation. So, it's a manager task to decide the methods. Next one, productivity approach. The name only says productivity. So, initially, that means in a traditional method, in a traditional organizational theory, productivity means only the economic input and output. So, only the raw material or the inputs and the final finished goods or the output is considered as a productivity. But now, in a modern organization or modern management, we consider each and every factors, that means an individual efficiency as a productivity, then overall economic productivity. So, all will consider it as a productivity. So, we are not going to consider only the economic productivity, that means the final goods output or final output which reach to the final consumers. So, here we consider the individual efficiency and effectiveness in the organization. So, their contribution in the organization. So, we consider the productivity means individual performance as well as the whole performance. So, if the individual performance is increased or individual productivity is more, means automatically the organizational productivity, that is economic productivity, is also more. So, we consider productivity means individual as well as the economic productivity. So, under modern organization, they will consider the human beings' social and ethical values. For example, better organizational behavior will lead to reduce the absentees and the turnover, employees turnover. So, in the modern management or modern organization believes in human beings' social and ethical values. So, they give more importance for overall, that means individual as well as the organizational behavior. So, here in the traditional management, they consider only the higher ratio of output, higher the efficiency and effectiveness. But here individual efficiency as well as the overall efficiency. So, a better organizational behavior leads to reduce the absentees and various other factors. So, it influences positively in the organization. So, we believe in total productivity, that means an individual as well as the organization. So, this is all about productivity approach. Last one, system approach. System approach means a whole system, that is organization is considered as a whole system. It is subdivided into various subsystems. So, organization have a various subsystem which influence the whole system, that is organization. All the subsystem, if the decision taken in one subsystem will affect the organization, the entire system, that we can explain through one diagram. So, this diagram shows the relationship between the system. We have a various subsystem. First, we have a input, it influences various factors and which results in output, which influence on output or results. So, the first one is goal and values of the organization. So, any decision taken for one subsystem will affect the entire results, that means for the output. Any decision, that is input, for the single subsystem will influence the output. So, first one is goal and value. Next one, technology. Third one, structure. Fourth one, public. Last but not the least, government. All this subsystem will influence the output. The organization take decision for single subsystem will influence the output. Either it may be a goals or values, technology, structure, public and government. Decision related to a single subsystem will influence the overall or the final results, that is output. So system approach means all the subsystems are interrelated or interconnected with each other. So it will affect for the other subsystem. For example, in the manufacturing department, if you take a decision to stop your production for 3 months, so it influences all your subsystem, finance department, HR department, marketing, sales and various departments. So it influences the whole system. One decision related to one subsystem will influence all the subsystem because it is interrelated with each other. So this is all about system approach. So now you know the human resource approach, contingency approach, productivity approach and system approach. Moving further, let us discuss the last topic, limitations of OB. So what are the limitations of OB? Is there any limitation for the OB? Answer is absolutely yes. So we have some limitations for the OB. So let us look into that. Behavioral bias. So this OB, it further causes discontentment and indiscipline and irresponsibility in the organization. So under behavioral bias, it further causes for the discontentment and irresponsibility and indiscipline in the organization. Next, law of diminishing results. For everything, we have a certain situation, that is saturation stage. So after that, automatically it comes down. Even though if we encourage or motivate them, it will not work. So the term motivation will not work after when it reaches the saturation stage. So automatically it will come down. So in the organization also, the motivation or any other factors we try to increase the productivity will not work after certain situation or after certain stage. So that is law of diminishing returns. Last, unethical practice and manipulation of peoples. So the skills or the knowledge, it may be misused in order to manipulate the people. So unethical way or unethical practice in the organization, and if you are using your skills and knowledge in order to manipulate the people, so it will adversely affect on the organization. So these all are the limitations of OB. So for this topic, we finished with the first unit. So let us meet in the next session with the second unit. Until then, keep watching. Thank you.